In the UK, somewhere between 40 and 60% of our food is ultra processed, depending on where you get your data from. A lot of these foods are high in fat, salt or sugar, which people focus on as being really bad for our health. However, that's not the main reason we eat so many of these foods. There's one other enormous reason why we eat these foods so much, and it's got nothing to do with what the food tastes like. And the easiest way to show this is with a little experiment. I'm now going to split myself into two. On one side we've got ultra processed Gavin, on the other side we've got home cooked Gavin. They're both going to go and make a lovely lasagna for dinner on a Friday night. From finishing work all the way through to finishing dinner, and then I'm going to work out exactly how long each meal took and how much each meal cost. It's 6:05. I think it's time for dinner. And they're off. At just a few minutes past 6 PM, home cooked Gavin rushes to his computer to find a recipe. To keep this fair, I selected the very first lasagna recipe that came up on Google, while ultra processed Gavin streaks into the lead, heading straight to the supermarket. Home cooked Gavin realises the scale of what he's just taken on. Oh my god, am I going to buy all of that? First job was to cross-reference the ingredients on the recipe with things that I've already got in the cupboard.
1 carrot, oh, I've got a carrot. 1.5 litres of, how much does this make?
As home cooked Gavin suddenly realised he was making enough lasagna for an entire dinner party, ultra processed Gavin was having a really chilled walk to the supermarket.
It's been 12 or something. 4 hours. I can't spend 4 hours making lasagna.
Meanwhile, ultra processed Gavin was already at the shops. I've got my recipe, I've got some of the ingredients in the kitchen already, and I've got my shopping list of the things that I don't have here, so 10 minutes down and we can go shopping and question our life choices along the way.
Get McDonald's. That'd be even quicker.
Ultra processed Gavin very quickly locates the goods.
The lasagna there. Oh, it's only a little one. I want a big one. Got another one there. Only 2 for £4.
After a quick visit to the self-checkout, I was on my way home for some dinner, while home-cooked Gavin was just starting.
Have they got celery?
And it very quickly became clear that getting all of the ingredients I needed was going to take a hell of a lot longer, because the recipe called for pancetta, pork mince, fresh rosemary and fresh thyme, all things which Iceland don't sell. While home-cooked Gavin paid for some of the ingredients for his dinner, ultra-processed Gavin was at home.
I should just microwave it.
It was only 6:30, so I decided to strap on running shoes and go for a quick 5k while home-cooked Gavin was hunting down some rosemary.
None either.
Highly unsuccessfully too. So home-cooked Gavin picked up the remaining ingredients he needed, minus rosemary, minus thyme, minus pork mince, and using bacon instead of pancetta, and got the hell out of there to go and do some cooking. It's now 6:47 PM. I'm at the opposite end of town. It's going to take me 10 minutes to walk home. I've not even done any cooking. It's nearly an hour since we started this experiment. Meanwhile, ultra-processed Gavin's already back from his run, and because he's got so much time on his hands, he's decided to have a shower and then do a bit of cleaning too. It was only halfway through cooking that I realised what a complicated recipe I'd chosen. However, it was the first recipe that showed up on Google, and that's what a lot of people would just go for if they were looking for a recipe. It included infusing the milk for the bechamel, that's the white sauce, with some bay leaf and nutmeg for an hour before making it, which, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Who's going to do that? The whole way through cooking, I was cutting out steps and simplifying it as much as I possibly could. But trust me in this, if you didn't have much experience in cooking, you would have thought this recipe is a complete and utter nightmare, especially compared to a microwave. Because home-cooked Gavin still got to simmer the meat sauce for an hour, make bechamel, then layer it all up into a lasagna before finally putting it in the oven to cook for an hour. I mean, I don't understand why anyone would even make this in the first place. It is now 7:44 PM and ultra-processed Gavin is serving up his dinner, having been to the shops, gone for a run and cleaned the bathroom.
Whoa.
10 out of 10 for plating. 1 hour and 40 minutes after starting, home-cooked Gavin is now making the white sauce for his lasagna, which is such a long and laborious process, he starts getting quite philosophical.
I have this thing where, like, I'll say a line and then I'll go, oh no, that wasn't right, and I'll do it like 3 times more. And then when I actually do the edit, I watch back and the first time was perfect.
At 7:58 PM, ultra-processed Gavin has had his dinner, he's done his washing up, he's done his chores, and he's been for a run. I think he might actually be the healthier version of Gavin. While home-cooked Gavin is still home cooking. At 4 minutes past 8, we found out one of the terrible side effects of ultra-processed foods. You've got more time to sit on the sofa and drink rum with your girlfriend. while home-cooked Gavin faced up to the prospect of a sink full of washing up, a dirty stove, and another hour to wait until dinner was ready.
Hey Siri, timer 1 hour.
While the lasagna bubbled away in the oven, home-cooked Gavin took that 15-minute spare time he had to do his chores. The finished lasagna looked amazing and was hotter than the sun, so Gavin then had to leave it for 10 minutes to cool down before he could actually eat it.
Oh.
Homemade Gavin finally got to sit down and eat his lasagna at 18 minutes past 9, a whole hour and a half after ultra-processed Gavin. An hour and a half during which ultra-processed Gavin had been sitting drinking rum with his girlfriend and enjoying life. Not doing washing up or stirring white sauce. After a busy week, ultra-processed Gavin decided to have an early night with a book in bed, while home-cooked Gavin embarked on yet another round of washing up. Finally, home-cooked Gavin had 15 minutes to read in bed before he needed to go to bed because he was fucking exhausted from cooking food for 3 hours tonight. Dinner's done, here's how they stacked up. Home-cooked lasagna took 3 hours and 1 minute in total. Ultra-processed lasagna took 47 minutes. That's 2 hours and 14 minutes difference. One of them is a great marathon finish time, the other one's a decent 10k time. These are literally different races you're running here. Cooking a ready meal allowed me to go for a run and spend some more social time, which are lovely things to do. But if I was really tight on cash and working on just the London living wage, I could have done another 2 hours at work and earned another 26 quid, which would make this an absolute bargain. But what about nutrition? I bet you're thinking, yeah, but that one's ultra processed and that's bad for me, right? I thought I'd ask Instagram. I took the nutritional details for both of these foods and I put them up on Instagram with no other context and just said, based on the nutritional values and you want to eat a healthy meal, would you choose A or B? 1,031 people voted and 88% of those people chose the ready meal. Because it's got more fibre and it's got less fat, it seems healthy. And well, it probably is. The home cooked one has tons of saturated fat, which we know we shouldn't eat too much of. It's also lower in fibre, but it does have more protein and it also has less salt, which is a good thing. But what about all the nasty ultra processed ingredients in the ready meal, all the stabilizers and things like that? Well, there aren't any. The ingredients that were in the ready meal I ate earlier don't have any of those ultra processed style ingredients. I'll put them on screen now so you can have a look. It's literally pasta, tomato, milk, water, mushroom, tomato puree, cheddar cheese, onion, corn flour. Probably the only thing that you might think is ultra processed is pasteurized egg, but really? I mean, it's just egg still. We drink pasteurized milk every day without a single problem because it's healthy, because it's stopping us from getting ill by eating that food. Okay, finally, what about the overall cost? Well, the ready meal cost £4.50, while the homemade lasagna cost £23.30. So yeah, the homemade one cost a lot more, but that's not a fair comparison. The homemade one had 6 portions, while the ready meal was only 2 portions. So if we scale the homemade one down to just 2 portions, it comes out at £7.77. Still a massive amount more than the ready meal. But there's more, because I had some red wine and some butter left over, things which I would use in other food. If I knock off the value of the remaining butter and red wine, this still works out 25% more expensive than the ready meal. And nobody seems to think it's actually healthier either. Now, it probably did taste better, which is the saving grace, but considering how much time and money the ready meal saved me, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense not to cook your own food. And that is exactly why ultra-processed foods are so popular, because they give us 2 things that we all want more of in life: time and money. Who doesn't want more of those? It's dinner time.